guess I'll get started. So I'm BMC, obviously. That's kind of all of us, right? Holly Campbell. I am the officer in charge of Coast Guard Cutter Line. Currently in Bayonne, New Jersey. Formerly twice XPO of other units in New York area. So I'm going to go over some discipline things to know today. I'm not going to get too far into the weeds with all of this. I'm going to maybe just give you like a couple of pointers in the right direction, where you should go, what you should know, and doing the investigation on trying to find where all this little stuff is part of the battle, and it helps you to remember and get that stuff going in your head. So what I'm going to go over, I have like a little bit of agenda, so I'm just going to go over NJP, what the basics you need to know, and where you should be looking for other stuff. So with NJP, we all know that the biggest issue there is knowing what you're allowed to do. So you have what article gives you authority to impose NJP. That's a no-brainer. Everybody should know that one. Article 15 there. Know what the article entails and where they get that information from. You got to know this stuff inside and out. The next thing you need to know about all that is Article 31B, the Miranda Tempia, and when to present that to the person you're imposing NJP on, or maybe imposing NJP on, because we all know 4910 has options, right? Past experiences and hearing stories, if you don't give that out, you can't take the statement. If you don't have that present and it's not signed, if everything that you ask or any statements or anything you get is just completely out the door. So ensure that your PIO knows that that's got to be done and brought up front to the accused. The PIO, so when you have a booking sheet, a 4910, and you have an investigation, you need to have the PIO assigned. Typically, it's going to be your XPO. That's just kind of the way it goes with that. I mean, it can be someone else outside of the chain. It could be your XPO who's going to NJP. So ensure that you have that person assigned and they know exactly what they need to do. There is a formal checklist for the PIO. I would definitely look at where to get that. Doing some digging around today for this thing here tonight that we're doing. It's there. Everything's there for you. You just got to find it. Definitely ensure that they get that checklist, though. That's paramount. If you follow the checklist, you really can't go wrong. It's nearly impossible to make a misstep there. Max punishments. What are the max NJP punishments that an OIC can impose on someone that is in their command, right? That stuff is definitely something you need to know. That should flow right out, right? It's right here, okay? You need to see it, there it is, all right? If anybody wants or would like to get any of this stuff that I have, please hit me up. I have tons of this stuff here. I'm sure there's a couple of people I've worked with that I saw log on here. They know I've dealt with this a couple times. Okay, so 4910s, right? Here it is, a beautiful 4910, right? Okay, offensive indisposition there. Make sure that this thing is completely filled out, know where to get these. Know that that's something you should have. You don't always have to have it, but you should have these. Knowing who can put one of these in, I mean, it really can be anybody, so just make sure that you're aware of, who can put these in and who can actually route a 4910 up. Should know what the parts are also. I mean, that's a service-wide question, right? So it's kind of like imperative that you know that. I always found it interesting to know what the parts were there. Knowing investigation types, so you have different types of investigations, right? So this may be something that the board, wants to know that you know what types of investigations there are, besides just the normal route of going straight to NJP. There's other options there. Am I going too fast for anybody? You guys need me to slow down or anything? Good. Thumbs up. Good. All right. I tend to rattle off a lot of shit. Stuff. So that's more or less the bread and butter of the NJP. Aside from NJP, we got different types and different levels of things that happen within there, right? So depending on what article you're looking at, this is going to be your best friend for that. This is an outdated version, but you guys get the drift, right? So here's that right here. Know it. Definitely know how to thumb through that guy. And this is an old version also. There is a 2019 version of this, and I swear by this. This is great. Get this. It is online for you. You can download this. If you go into, I think it was, I think I just went into the search bar on Coast Guard portal, and you put in there Commander's Quick Legal Reference Guide. This is like the best, okay? This will give you everything that you need to know for any type of situation that you're going to have. And the lawyer's phone number is right there on the back of it. So grab that, okay? Okay, so we talked about 4910s. We talked about maximum punishments that the OICs can impose. We talked about PIO, okay, processing, who that is and where the checklist is for that. We talked about Article 31B, Miranda Tempia, right, and when to present that. We talked about Article 15 and your authority to impose NJP and knowing investigation types. Okay, that's the B for that right there, for NJP. So I'm going to move on to discipline and conduct. Okay, Commandant Instruction 1600.2. Get familiar with that. I mean, there's more stuff in there that happens than stuff that, is more of a belligerent factor. You have in there your indebtedness, supported dependence, and you also have the little blurb in there about something that we'll talk about a little bit later with reduction for incompetence for performance probation. And it also has the report of civil conviction in there for civil offenses. So, failure to support dependents, right? Not a good move, not a good look, okay? Definitely need to know Chapter 2E for support of dependents. There's a very, very lengthy chapter there for that, and it has in there, all of your tables for, your child supports and things outside of having a divorce decree, things of that nature. That seems to come up a lot, whether it's intentional or not. Definitely something to look at. I got asked it on my board. I went through 2014. I'm sure that's something that they can hit on very, very easily. It will be. I'm sure it will be. Indebtedness, that goes through all of the actions that you have to take in order to deal with somebody who's not paying their bills or bouncing checks or not paying their government travel cards and things like that. Bankruptcy, you gives counseling services options in there. You know, if you get calls from your guys' credit card companies, what are you going to do? Pretty much is the bottom line there. That manual, Common on Instructions 1600.2, will show you the right direction for that. The civil arrest portion there, that is kind of a sticky situation in the fact that there's a lot of small caveats in there to things that you need to know about when people under 21 get arrested, or when they're over 21 get arrested, who you have to notify, things of that nature. There's things that go into that too, as far as like double jeopardy, as far as like getting Coast Guard punitive actions, vice civil. So know what you can and can't do there before or after civil. There's very intricate steps there to keep a finger on. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about discipline and conduct in 1600.2? Where to find stuff, hot items in there, push button items, anything like that before I move on from that? Going with a no? I know I have some lag probably, I'm sorry about that. Alright. Hopefully you'll never have to deal with that, but most likely you will. It's a big one to know. Okay. Drug incident, right? Everyone should know how to deal with drug incidents. I mean, that is just written in the cards. It's very, very obvious now what we are and shall do if there is a drug incident on board. With that said, I would urge you guys to go back into the commander's quick legal reference and get into that as far as drug incidents go. Know the difference in suitability and performance probation. Yes, I am on my way there, Eric. Definitely. That is next in line after drug and AI and versus DUI. I will be on there like white on rice. Yes, so drug incident, I don't think I need to get into that one too much, except telling you, hey, know what you need to do, know who you need to contact, right? Mandatory reporting, know exactly what you can do. It goes into search also with that. I mean, that's a good segue into search and seizure on board your units. That also, there's interesting ways to go about doing that, and it's literally all written out right in writing for you. I would get into that, look at search and seizure, understand what a search authorization is, ensuring probable cause, what an inspection is, what the definition of government property is, reasonable expectation of privacy, securing the scene, those types of things in your unit, and making sure that you can, freeze, what's going on and get things right for the rest of your people if it happens to be on site. And that goes, for anything, who can search, what's the scope, what's the probable cause, who has authorization. Those are the big things and hot points to hit with search and seizure on board. So that's I would definitely get into knowing what an alcohol incident is. Obviously, we know that's very, very important to have a great grasp on and be able to make quick reactions to something like that. If there is an AI, is it punitive? Is it administrative? Which is it? This is something to know and ensure that you can hone in on. Vice DUI. What does a DUI do? What are repercussions of DUI? Those are different things right there. So, you know the difference. I'm sure you guys are harping in on that pretty good. I'm not going to get into the weeds and telling you what an AI is. Everybody knows what an AI is. If you're doing this board, you should know what an AI is, right? Definitely know that, though. Okay, so going into what was suggested on the comments. So we're going to... Does anybody have any question about DUI or AI? I mean, or drug incident or anything like that, please hit me up. I will be more than happy to help you. You know, local CDARs are a great resource for that. Also, if you want to reach out to them, you know, if you have any questions, you know, get into the manuals, get into this little guide right here. I'm telling you, this is just the best study material ever for what you're going to be doing here. So EMI, performance probation, and reduction for incompetence, right? 3 different things. We know what EMI is, hopefully, right? EMI, extra-military instruction, okay? What is it used for? Know what it's used for? Document, right? Document in writing. I highly advise that, only because you can, you know, if there becomes a pattern of, you know, issues with a person, you know, there's something to rely on and fall back on there, okay? Has to be supervised, right? Can't give work hours as punishment without NJP or court-martial. That's a big little one in there. And who can assign EMI, right? During what parts of the day can you assign EMI? You know, during normal working hours, it could be like any officer, chief petty officer, petty officer. You know, after normal working hours, if you're doing that +2 or plus, you know, whatever on the backside of a workday, that's CO OIC only. Okay. Know the rest of the parameters on that. I'm not going to go through all of them, but again, just make sure you know all of the little stipulations with that, okay? There's more than just 4, so just get into it a little bit more. You need to be knowledgeable on that. Performance probation, right? Okay, so performance probation is now an EPQ. EPQ is a great resource to go into and see what reference they're using for that, and it gives you a tool to look at there. So I know for E8, it's a EPQ or EPME1 for that. Okay. Other than that, Commandant Instruction 1000.2. Okay. That is where you're gonna find the standard performance probation stuff right there. It's pretty much written out for you again. So before you go into performance probation, right, it's recommended, and I mean highly recommended, almost a shout, that you contact EPM1 and talk with them about what's going on, okay? Mike Tollison is one of the most knowledgeable guys up there, for sure, and he will help you out in any facet that you need, okay? I've talked to him on numerous occasions, and he's always been there to help out, okay? This is, you know, I actually hit him up today just to, you know, chat with him and talk about some stuff. So, 6 months performance probation, P&D, right? There's P&Ds for these things, performance and discipline, like 3307s, but there's different things. They're not all, you know, just the 3307. So, is a P&D 21 for performance probation, okay? You can find all of these P&Ds, like, I think it's like P&D 1 through like 36 or something like that, ridiculous, on the EPM website, or sorry, the PPC website. It's really nice, actually. They have a great library, and EPM1 has a list of just verbiage. They have Word documents, verbiage of exactly what you should have in your P&Ds. okay, for all sorts of ones. Like, you go in there, it's kind of amazing. It actually helps with studying because the way they use verbiage there. So unsat performers, right? If you have an unsat performer, it's our obligation, right? This is a huge sticking point for me. It is our obligation as officers in charge to hold accountability. Okay, if you're not doing that, you're not doing your first job. Okay, holding your crews accountable for their actions. If somebody's a subpar performer and you keep letting them slide, shove them off the A school, whatever, but that's not helping anybody out down the road. It's not helping the member out, and it's certainly not helping the next OIC or CO who receives that now petty officer, most likely, in their unit. So, but it's not the fun part of the job, believe me. Like, it is definitely not the fun part, but it's an obligation to do. So sometimes you got to make those tough decisions, and just, you got to do it. Okay, that's just my little 2 cents there. Okay. I certainly don't want to receive somebody out of A school who is not holding their weight at the unit before. It's just not a thing. Okay, not a thing at all. So 6 months performance probation. Sorry, I went off on the tangent there. So ineptitude. Okay, we got ineptitude. Early termination clause if member is not showing significant improvement. So members on performance probation, you got them on that 6-monther. If he's not showing, or she, sorry, I just say that generally, if he or she is not showing significant improvement, and in fact is declining, you're done. You don't have to go a whole 6 months. You call up EPM 1, talk to those guys over there, talk to Mike Tolson, prove your point, continue documenting what's going on, okay? More 3307s, you don't have to wait that 6 months. They're going to be outski, okay? Yeah. So, anybody need anything else on performance probation? Where to find the documentation, who to contact, what to do, reasons why. Okay, I got a thumbs up, so it looks like we're good there. Okay. If you do, hit me up. I have no problem helping out, okay? So, next one is reduction for incompetence, okay? Reduction for incompetence is a 3-month probation period, okay? Pretty much same-ish stipulations for performance probation. However, it's due to your inability to qualify, do what you're supposed to do in your rating. Where does HC draw the line? You know that one. You know that, Jason. I don't take anything from anybody. Alright. Where was I? Reduction for incompetence. Okay, so 3 months. That one is found in, where was that one? Why do I not have that on my note? Oh, yes, I do. There it is. Okay. I think I do. I will find it. Apologize for that. I had it right here. Assignments, accessions, and evaluations manual. That is where you find reduction for incompetence. So, more or less, so you have a boat, can't drive a boat, incompetence, right? So, you're not able to do what your mission is. So, that non-rate who came out of A school, who came from a unit that they didn't hold a member accountable and is now at your unit and is now a rated petty officer, can't do it, okay? Gotta draw a line. They can't be crew, they can't be QMO, they can't be whatever, they're just not grasping the concept, okay? You can use this as a tool, okay? Use it as a tool in order to get someone where you need them to be. If they're not doing the job of a 2nd class, maybe they need to be a 3rd class for a little longer and figure it out, right? So there's a lot of caveats to that one as well. You can find it in the manual that I mentioned. I just said it. So, oh my gosh, I can't. And listen, advancements, accessions, and evaluations manual. Sorry. That one. So you can find it there. Look in there. Definitely know that one. It's a little it's a card trick up your sleeve, okay? Not something to take lightly, because also keep in mind, have that compassion towards somebody, give them every opportunity, and make sure they're being mentored properly, that, you've exhausted all resources, and this is the last resort almost, okay? Definitely, because you're taking somebody's rank away. You're taking somebody's rank away, you're taking somebody's pay down, so really contemplate that before using that one, okay? Anybody have any more questions, Matt? What's to do with the probation thing? I'll ask. Okay, Jason, gotcha. So where would I draw the line as far as performance probation? I mean, personally, you're not doing your job. I mean, it's difficult enough being on a 65, and I'm sure Leah can understand this one and any other skips that are out there. Having a crew as small as ours, if one person isn't holding their weight, it messes up the whole entire process of your alchemy with your crew. It messes up the jive. It's difficult, but I mean, if there is just an unwillingness or a total, neglect on somebody's part, that's pretty much grounds for me. If there's an effort there, if I could get them out to different units, if I could do anything else, in that genre of getting them more experience, getting another CO's eyes on it to see what they think about it. I've had that in the past too, where members have been sent to me from another unit saying, hey, I need you to observe this guy for a couple weeks. I want you to, see what he's like over there. Cool, no problem. Always there to help, and same in return. Yeah, right, yeah, yeah, Jay. So that's that. I think the last thing I'm gonna actually touch on is the MPOs, and that's about it. So you have military protective orders, and that is definitely something that you need to know about. Look that up. That's something good to read about, because there's a lot of little things in there with it. Again, I will plug this one more time. Get in here, and you need to. If you don't get this for the board, you're doing a disservice to yourself. I mean, this is it. I think I've plugged this 4 times now, so I will stop dropping the hammer on that. But hey, MPOs are in here too, so there you go. Okay. So that's the last thing I have for you guys tonight. I made it short and sweet, to the point. Hopefully you got something out of it. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to drop me a line. holly.campbell@uscg.mil. The only one in there. So you can find me, no middle initial. And that's about it. Alright guys, good luck, and thank you for continuing the Bosun-Mate tradition in going forward and trying to get your calls. Good luck. Look forward to seeing you and working with you.